Deep in the heart of the Dark Vale, where towering trees twisted toward the sky like ancient sentinels, a sprawling orc settlement lay hidden from the rest of the world. This was a realm where magic thrived alongside danger, and life pulsed in the shadows beneath the canopy. In the depths of this dark forest lived the Orc King, a formidable leader whose iron grip ensured that his kingdom remained strong. Thara was unlike most orcs. With emerald skin that shimmered subtly and fiery red hair cascading down her back, she radiated a spirit untamed by tradition. Unlike her kin, she yearned to see beyond the confines of her home, dreaming of adventures that lay outside the treetops. Her rebellious heart often led her into trouble, but it was her fierce independence that truly set her apart. Among the king's guards was Grulk, a stalwart warrior with broad shoulders and a heart that beat for honor and loyalty. He was known for his unparalleled strength and unwavering commitment to the king. While many orcs boasted of their bravery in battle, Grulk held a different kind of strength, a gentleness that emerged when he was near Thara. Their paths crossed often in the shadows of the village, where candor and laughter replaced the weight of expectation. Grulk admired her spirit and fire. Thara saw within Grulk the compassion that lay beneath his rugged exterior. In those fleeting moments, hidden away from the gaze of their peers, a connection sparked, a bond neither could articulate, yet both felt deeply. But tranquility was not to last. The Orc King, intent on preserving his lineage, summoned Thara to the stone throne room that reeked of authority and expectation. The air was thick with tension as she stepped through the heavy wooden door, the murmurs of the court falling silent. "My daughter," the king growled, his voice a low rumble. Sharp eyes bore down on her, dissecting her very essence. "It is time for you to fulfill your duty. My son Rarkath seeks your hand in marriage. It is a union that will strengthen our tribe." Thara's heart sank. Rarkath was brash and arrogant, embodying the worst traits of the king. "Father, I—" "Silence," he spat, his voice echoing in the chamber. "You will not defy me, Thara. You will bring honor to our tribe as my kin should. The alliance will solidify our power among the clans." The weight of her father's words pressed on her soul, but deep within, a fierce fire ignited. She could not succumb to a fate that would bind her to a life she did not choose. Thoughts of Grulk and the bond they shared solidified her resolve. She would not let another dictate her life, nor would she betray her heart. After the king's decree, Thara retreated to the glades, her sanctuary within the dark woods. The ancient trees listened as she poured her frustrations into the wind. Hunched over a shimmering creek under the watchful gaze of the moon, she felt tears streaming down her cheeks. In that moment of vulnerability, she heard footsteps approach. Grulk emerged from the shadows, concern etched on his face. "Thara," he whispered gently, his deep voice a soothing balm. "What troubles you?" She turned to him, anger and sorrow swirling in her heart. "The king has arranged my marriage to Rarkath. I cannot become a pawn in this game of power. I refuse." Grulk's expression darkened. Rarkath was a dangerous man, not to be underestimated. "You must be careful, Thara. The king does not take kindly to defiance, especially not from his daughter." "I cannot live a lie," she replied fiercely, clenching her fists. "I would rather face the wrath of the king than surrender my heart to someone I do not love." Grulk stepped closer, the distance between them charged with unspoken emotions. Love is a fragile thing in this world. We do not always have the luxury to choose it. "But I choose it," she insisted, her voice steady, "and my heart belongs to you, Grulk." His breath caught, a mixture of surprise and longing. The closeness of their bodies sent ripples of warmth through her. "Then we must be brave together." The next days were shrouded in tension as Thara navigated her home, acutely aware of Rarkath's growing interest and the king's unwavering expectations. She knew that defying the king meant risking everything, yet the thought of losing Grulk propelled her forward. Whispers began to circulate among the clans, seeping into the very fabric of their lives. The elation of the king's promise to unite his son with Thara clashed with the unspoken tension of her refusal. As rumors spread, the king's frustration swelled, and he issued a decree. Any who dared oppose the royal will would face severe consequences. In the quiet of night, Thara confided in Grulk. "If you are the one who guards me, then you surely know how much I long for this to end. I will stand with you, Thara, Grulk vowed, no matter the cost. I cannot allow you to endure this alone. As days turned into restless nights filled with uncertainty, Thara's heart raced every time she caught a glimpse of Grulk. Their secret meetings intensified, each stolen moment deepening their bond. However, the looming threat of Rarkath and the king's wrath gnawed at Thara's mind. What would happen when the truth inevitably surfaced? One fateful morning, Rarkath confronted Thara as she gathered herbs in the forest. His presence loomed over her, and instinctively she tensed. "Thara," he drawled, a sinister smile playing on his lips, "you will not be so lucky to escape this alliance. I will have you, whether you choose to accept it or not." His words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Thara's heart raced. She felt trapped as a chill ran down her spine. "I refuse to be your pawn, Rarkath. You may hold power over my father, but you do not hold power over my heart." Rarkath's eyes narrowed and anger flared. "You will regret this defiance. I will show you what happens when you resist the king's will." As she turned and fled into the woods, adrenaline coursed through her veins. She needed Grulk. With the urgency of turmoil at her back, she searched through the trees until she found her love waiting for her in the familiar glade. "Grulk," she gasped, her breath catching as she sought refuge in his strong arms. "Rarkath confronts me. He is determined to claim me, and the king will not allow me to refuse him." Grulk's expression darkened. "We must act swiftly. If the king learns of our bond, he will strike down anyone who defies him. We cannot let Rarkath have power over you." Their hearts beat as one, a shared understanding of the dangers ahead. They stood at a crossroads, knowing they were fighting against an unyielding force, but love had ignited their spirits, fueling their resolve. Chapter 6: The First Strike. The following day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the woods into twilight, Thara's fears were realized. Rarkath, emboldened by his father's power, rallied a small band of warriors to confront Grulk, claiming that the guard's feelings for Thara posed a threat to the core of the kingdom. "You're nothing but a traitor to your own kind. I will not let their foolish love jeopardize our future," Rarkath shouted, his voice echoing malignantly among the trees. Grulk stood firm, his body a wall of determination as he faced Rarkath. "Threaten her again and I will make you regret it. This is not just about the king's foolish dreams. This is about love, something you will never comprehend." The confrontation escalated, swords drawn and rage boiling over. Grulk fought valiantly, using all his strength and skill, but against the odds, the tide began to turn. The guards loyal to Rarkath pressed forward, and soon the glade was but a cacophony of clashing metal and shouts. "Thara!" Grulk called out over the chaos, desperation ringing in his voice. "Get to safety." But Thara's heart thundered in her chest. She couldn't let Grulk fight alone. With a surge of adrenaline, she charged into the fray, brandishing a staff of dark wood she had always kept close, channeling the magic of her ancestors. "Stand beside me!" she shouted, fury igniting her power, determined to fight for the love that pulsed in her heart. The battle swirled around them, a tempest of emotions and steel. As Thara embraced her magical essence in the heat of combat, Grulk fought fiercely, brushing against despair as he faced Rarkath's unyielding ferocity. The glade, once a sanctuary, became a battlefield, a stage for their defiance against fate. With each burst of magic, Thara found herself pushing back against the dark forces surrounding her, weaving spells of light and power that illuminated the shadows. The air crackled with energy as she united her strengths with Grulk's strength, together weaving a bond that made them formidable. Yet amidst the turmoil, Thara's gaze fell upon Rarkath, dark and ruthless, his determination unwavering. In a moment fueled by rage and desperation, he drew a dagger, aimed to strike Grulk down. "No!" Thara's shout tore through the chaos as she conjured an ethereal shield, creating a barrier just in time. Grulk met Thara's gaze, his heart swelling with admiration for her bravery amidst the fear. "We will end this together," he proclaimed as he fought through the veil of enemies, joining Thara by her side. As the battle raged on, the tides began to shift. Fueled by their love and loyalty, Grulk and Thara fought in perfect synchrony. Each blow they landed, every spell Thara conjured chipped away at Rarkath's arrogance. With each fallen warrior, whispers of discontent and doubt among Rarkath's ranks began to surface. The tide turned as Grulk faced Rarkath, their eyes locking in a moment of understanding. "You may have power, but you will never understand true strength," Grulk declared, his voice unwavering. With a swift attack, Grulk disarmed Rarkath, leaving him vulnerable. Thara stepped forward alongside Grulk, her expression resolute. "You do not own me, and neither does your father. Love will always prevail." As Rarkath fell to his knees, the raw turmoil in his eyes was laid bare. "You will pay for this insult," he spat, but doubt flickered in his voice, acknowledgement of his defeat. Yet the battle was not over. As the dust settled, the shadows of the forest began to stir with an ominous energy. The Orc King had been watching, the anger brewing like dark clouds ready to unleash a storm. As his presence descended upon the glade, darkness enveloped them, and the weight of his command settled over Thara and Grulk like a shroud. They exchanged a glance. There was still more to fight for. As the Orc King emerged from the shadows, his presence loomed over the glade, dark and imposing. The air crackled with tension, and the once vibrant clearing transformed into a grim arena of fate. Grulk and Thara stood resolutely side by side, their hearts pounding as they braced against the imminent storm. The king's eyes blazed with anger. "You dare defy my command," he thundered, his voice echoing like thunder through the trees. "You are nothing but a traitor, Thara. And you," he pointed at Grulk, "you will pay for your insolence." Thara felt a chill run down her spine, but she refused to back down. "I will not be a pawn in your games any longer," she shouted, feeling the fire within her courage rising to the surface. "You think you can defy me? Love does not protect you from my wrath," the king growled, his presence darkening the very air around them. The warriors at his back shifted nervously, unsure of the tide that was turning before their eyes. Grulk stepped forward, standing tall against the formidable king. "You may have power, but you do not define our hearts. Thara and I will not be bound to your will." "Enough of this," the king roared, his anger palpable. "You will both pay for your defiance. Guards, seize them!" With a swift motion, the king unleashed a wave of energy, and shadows emerged from the trees, coalescing into dark figures that surged toward them. Grulk and Thara exchanged resolute glances, understanding the depth of their connection. Together, they would face the onslaught. As the dark figures approached, Thara summoned her magic, drawing on the energy of the earth beneath her feet. "Grulk, we must hold them off," she cried, her hands glowing with luminescent light. Grulk tightened his grip on his sword, determination filling his gaze. "Together!" he shouted, charging into battle alongside her. The clash of steel and energy erupted as they fought valiantly against the shadows. Grulk's strength countered the darkness, while Thara's magic illuminated the battlefield, creating bursts of light that fragmented the oncoming foes. Every strike felt electric, an affirmation of their love as they synchronized their attacks, fighting not only for their lives, but for the freedom of their hearts. "Thara, watch out!" Grulk called as a shadow lunged toward her. With a swift surge of magic, she created a barrier, deflecting the attack and striking the shadow down. The intensity grew as they pressed on, the dark figures faltering against the strength of their bond. Each blow they landed reignited their spirits, a force that transcended the darkness surrounding them. Thara's magic wove seamlessly with Grulk's prowess, forming a light that pushed back the encroaching shadows. But the weight of the king's presence loomed larger still, the air thick with fear and uncertainty. "You think yourselves heroes," the king barked, frustration rippling through his voice. "You will taste defeat." With a surge of energy, he unleashed a torrent of dark magic that coursed through the glade, igniting a fierce storm. Shadows twisted and spun, threatening to consume them both. Grulk's heart raced. They were losing ground. "Thara!" he shouted above the chaos. "We need to combine our strength to counter his power." "On my mark," she replied, focusing all her energy into a single surge of light. Grulk nodded, locking eyes with her, ready to act. They pooled their magic together, their energies intertwining, growing stronger as they focused on the threads that bound them: love, hope, defiance. As the king's dark magic surged toward them, they launched their combined force forward, meeting the darkness head-on. The impact was explosive. Light clashed against shadow, a brilliant burst illuminating the glade as the darkness recoiled, leaving echoes of light cascading through the trees. But the king was resolute. He strained against their power, fury etched into his face. "Foolish children, you cannot defeat me," he bellowed as he drew upon even more dark power, amplifying the storm around them. With each heartbeat, the battle raged on, but Thara could feel her energy depleting. The toll of their efforts weighed heavily on her. "Grulk, I can't hold much longer," she gasped, her voice barely audible over the chaos. "We can't give up," Grulk urged, desperation rising. The shadows closed in again, but their defiance flickered brightly, a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. "No, I won't let you fall," Grulk pushed forward, battling through the shadows that threatened to overwhelm them. His love for Thara surged within him, glowing fiercely against the dark forces. Driven by pure will, Thara grasped Grulk's hand, drawing strength from their bond. Together they channeled their love into a dazzling surge of energy, a radiant explosion that illuminated the glade like dawn breaking through the night. The combined might of their spirits pushed back against the darkness, forcing the shadows to wane and retreat. "Together," they shouted, their voices echoing through the trees. Their unity was their greatest weapon, a manifestation of hope against despair. But the king would not relent. He bore down on them, darkness swirling around him as he fought through the light. With a final defiant roar, he unleashed a powerful wave that shattered the ground beneath them. The force cascaded through the glade, sending both Grulk and Thara sprawling to the rocky earth. Pain flared through Thara's body, but even in that moment, her heart throbbed with a fierce determination. "We cannot back down," she whispered, urging herself to stand against the crushing weight of fear. With a grunt, Grulk rose beside her, anchoring her with his unwavering presence. As the king loomed closer, a terrifying silhouette against the glowing remnants of their magic, Thara felt a surge of defiance rise within her. She refused to allow her heart to be crushed. "Grulk," Thara shouted, resolve hardening her voice. "If we are to fight, we must believe in the power of our love. It is stronger than any darkness." "Thara, no!" Grulk cried, sensing the risk she was willing to take, but her fierce determination shone through her eyes. Drawing on the depths of their connection, Thara whispered incantations taught to her by the elders of her clan, a language woven through time and magic. Each word carried a weight of history, a connection to the ancestors who believed in love's power. The ancient magic pulsed within the glade, drawing the energy of the earth and the strength of their hearts into one final desperate surge. Their combined essence became a radiant force that enveloped them, transcending the barriers that separated them from the king. With a blinding flash, they shot forth, their magic colliding with the Orc King's darkness. The two powers clashed, a battle of wills as light and shadow fought to dominate the glade. But love was a potent force, and as the magic surged forward, the dark shadows around the king began to retract, unraveling in the presence of the light. A scream erupted from the king as he was engulfed in the overwhelming energy. "No!" he bellowed, rage and disbelief intertwining as the light consumed him. With a final blinding flash, the king was overwhelmed, the dark clouds dissipating into the night. As the dust settled, the silence hung thick in the air. Grulk and Thara stood panting beside one another, their hands clasped tightly, relief flooding through them. The shadows had retreated, and the glade, once filled with chaos, was now bathed in the soft glow of twilight. "We did it," Grulk breathed, his eyes wide with disbelief and awe. "We actually did it." Thara turned to him, her heart swelling with emotion. "We fought for our love, Grulk. It was our strength that overcame the darkness." "I can't believe the king is gone," he replied quietly, sorrow etched in his features. "But we must ensure the kingdom doesn't fall to chaos." The sounds of retreated warriors filtered back into the clearing, whispering among themselves, their loyalty shaken. The air felt different now, charged with the promise of a new dawn. Thara's heart raced, but it was not from fear. Now it was a wild sense of freedom. As the remnants of the battle faded into memory, Thara turned to Grulk, her heart racing. "Together we can rebuild, forge a new future for our people, one built on love and understanding instead of fear and power." Grulk nodded, his expression filled with admiration. You are the heart of that future, Thara. I will stand by you, always. With the decision made, they leaned into each other, caught in the gravity of their connection. The world around them faded, and in that moment, it was just the two of them. As twilight yielded to the cool embrace of night, Thara could feel the warmth radiating from Grulk beside her. The darkness around them had transformed into a blanket of stars, framing the sky in a tapestry of light. Can we just take a moment? Thara whispered, her heart pounding. The adrenaline was giving way to a different kind of urgency, a need that had been simmering beneath the surface through their trials. Grulk's gaze softened as he took in her vulnerable expression. You fought so bravely. You deserve a moment of peace. But it was more than peace she craved. With a rush of longing, Thara stepped closer, feeling the warmth radiating from him, a sanctuary after the storm. Grulk, she murmured, I want to be with you here now. As their gazes locked, understanding passed between them, unspoken yet overwhelming. This was more than just physical. It was a culmination of everything they had fought for, an embodiment of their love forged in the heat of battle. With a gentle caress, Thara leaned in, the distance between them dissolving. Grulk's hands found her waist, pulling her closer as she pressed her lips against his. The kiss ignited a fire within them, a union of souls that had withstood the storm. It deepened, filled with passion and yearning, each kiss a promise of devotion and trust. The world around them faded completely as they surrendered to the connection they had fought so hard to protect. As the moonlight danced through the trees, illuminating the glade, their kisses grew fervent, every brush of skin igniting sensations they had kept at bay for too long. Thara felt electrified, the magic of their love enveloping her as Grulk's fingers tangled in her hair, deepening their embrace. With hearts still racing, they sank to the soft earth, grounded in their love, surrounded by a sanctuary created just for them. Thara felt the coolness of the night, contrasting with the warmth of Grulk's body against hers, sending shivers of anticipation through her. Are you sure? Grulk asked softly, his breath warm against her skin. The vulnerability in his eyes stirred something deep within her. Yes, she breathed, determination fueling her words. I want to share this moment with you. I want to feel everything. He leaned closer, brushing his lips against her forehead before trailing soft kisses down her cheek. With each touch, she melted further into him, her body responding instinctively to his touch. Under the luminous stars, they continued exploring the depths of their connection, each caress igniting their desires. Grulk's hands roamed over Thara's back, tracing the curves of her body with an urgency born from the danger they had faced. Every kiss became a silent promise, each touch a testament to their love. Thara gasped as Grulk's lips traveled to her neck, igniting a flame that raced through her veins. I never want to let you go, he murmured against her skin, his voice thick with emotion. Then hold me, she replied breathlessly, reveling in the warmth of his touch as she wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him closer still. Their bodies pressed together as the fabric of reality melted away, leaving only the intoxicating rhythm of their hearts. In that moment, nothing else mattered, just this union, this sacred embrace, shared between two souls, destined to be together. As the night unfolded, they explored the landscapes of one another, hands and lips tracing paths of desire and love that left them breathless. The weight of the world, the shadows of the past, all faded into the background as they lost themselves in the depths of each other's gaze. The forest became a cocoon, a safe haven where they could finally express the love that had flourished amidst chaos. Thara felt alive, the very marrow of her being resonating with each tender kiss and touch. With every moment, the urgency grew, a desire to merge not just their bodies but their souls. Grulk's kisses became more fervent, igniting a fire within her that threatened to consume them both. With every gentle press of lips, every caress of skin, Thara let go of her inhibitions and allowed herself to be swept away. Grulk's hands found the delicate lace of her clothing, pulling it away to reveal her skin to moonlight and starlight. Thara, Grulk breathed, his voice filled with awe and reverence as he gazed upon her. You're beautiful. The sincerity in his words sent waves of warmth through her, igniting an inferno of passion. They both knew there was no going back. They had crossed a threshold into a realm of vulnerability and trust. As they moved closer, Grulk's hands explored her body, mapping every curve and every inch of skin. Their breaths mingled, a melody of longing that echoed through the forest as they surrendered to the pull that had been building between them. Each kiss deepened, every touch more desperate, until they found themselves lost in a world of their own creation. The glade around them faded away, transforming into a sanctuary where love reigned above all. With every caress, they encased themselves in an embrace that was at once tender and passionate. The energy between them surged as they pressed against one another, their souls becoming entwined in a dance as old as time. Thara surrendered fully to the moment, her heart racing with anticipation as Grulk's hands roamed her body, igniting every nerve with electric pleasure. Their lips met with fervor, a symphony of heartbeat, breath, and skin as they merged into one another, becoming lost in the rhythm of their passion. As the cool night air kissed their exposed skin, they let go of the fears and uncertainties that had bound them for so long. In this intimate cocoon, they could finally be truly themselves, two beings unified in love. "Thara, my love," Grulk murmured against her lips, filling the air with dewy warmth as he held her close. "I want to be yours completely." "Yes, Grulk," she breathed, her voice a soft whisper as she wrapped her arms around him, pulling him even closer. "I'm yours." In that moment, the world shifted, and they came together in a powerful union. The intensity of their connection surged through every fiber of their beings, wrapping them in a light that pushed all shadows aside. Their bodies moved together with grace and urgency as the two souls intertwined in a passionate embrace. Every sigh and murmur that escaped them was a testament to the depth of their feelings, a culmination of everything they had fought for. Lost in the whirlwind of emotion and sensation, they explored each other with ardor and tenderness, each touch, kiss, and caress a promise of forever. In that moment, they transcended the barriers of their past, allowing love to fill the void left behind by fear and longing. Thara felt alive in a way she had never known. A raw, unfathomable power surged through her as she surrendered to Grulk completely. They became one, bodies moving in sync, passion igniting fire and warmth within their souls as they unified in a dance of love. As dawn broke over the horizon, golden rays of sunlight poured into the glade, revealing the aftermath of their intimate union. Thara and Grulk lay entwined in each other's arms, breathless and filled with an overwhelming sense of joy. Thara's heart fluttered, awe flooding through her as she gazed at Grulk, his strong features softened in the light. "We did it," she whispered, feeling a profound sense of tranquility wash over her. Grulk smiled, his eyes shining with warmth. "Together we overcame so much, this is just the beginning." In the wake of their love, they had forged a bond stronger than any darkness. As the sun painted the world in colors of hope, they released their fears and embraced the promise of a new beginning. "Let's rebuild our lives together," Thara said, determination ignited within her. Grulk nodded, pulling her closer once more. "You are my heart, and together we will show our people what love can achieve. We will help them understand there is strength in unity, not fear." With hands intertwined, they ventured back into the world, prepared to face the future together. The shadows of the past had been cast aside, and with their love as a guiding light, they would carve a new path through the dark woods, arising like dawn from the night. As they walked hand in hand, hope blossomed in the hearts of all who witnessed their union, two orcs who dared to love fiercely in the face of adversity, forging a future filled with promise and light. Together, they would redefine what it meant to be orc, to love without bounds, igniting a movement that would resonate through generations to come. In the depths of the dark woods, love had triumphed, and with it, transformed the world around them. As seasons shifted and time flowed like the rivers of their homeland, Grulk and Thara became figures of strength and compassion, leading their people toward unity and understanding. Their love story became a legend, whispered through the winds of the Dark Vale, inspiring generations to come. In the heart of the woods, beneath the canopies that now felt like a warm embrace, the once hidden orc settlement thrived as a beacon of hope. Embracing their differences, the clans found harmony, an understanding that love transcended all boundaries. With each new dawn, their love flourished, growing deeper as they navigated life's trials together, hand in hand. And as they stood beneath the starlit sky side by side, they were reminded that love knows no darkness and can illuminate the path even in the deepest of woods. Together, Grulk and Thara, bound by love, would face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that as long as they stood together, their hearts would forever be entwined.